Look at all these Coleus I just picked. We have some cold temperatures coming up. We have 2 more days in the 70s and then 4 days in the 50s. I'm not looking forward to it because I have a show that's outside and I will be out there in that cold weather, and the nighttime temperatures are in the low 40s, upper 30s, which means I could get a frost and I could lose my Coleus. So I want to make sure I get some cut so that way I can propagate them. They make really good houseplants, and I'll have some for next year's pots. Now, I don't propagate these to sell because they are a trademarked, copyrighted Coleus, and I'm only growing these for my own personal use and to show you how to propagate the Coleus. So I'm Michelle. Welcome to Gardening with the Landscape Connection. I'm in Northern Illinois, Zone 5, and today that's what we're going to do. So let's get going. This one here is from the Color Blaze series from Proven Winners. This is the Wicked Witch. Okay, now I'm not propagating these to sell them. I'm just propagating them to grow them for myself. And so look at that. That's 1 4-inch that grew. 1 4-inch pot that grew into this big, beautiful plant. Isn't that gorgeous? And if you come up the bridge into the glass greenhouse, see, we've planted this out down here. And see, I've got some beautiful Wicked Witch right here as well. And those are just gorgeous, that color contrast in there. I love that. Okay, here's my other side. There's my big patch of rosemary. And then I've got some Trailblazer Glory Rose Coleus in here, so I'm gonna get a little bit of that. And then it kind of lifts up here to some Celosia. Celosia just self-seed in here all over the place, so we just let them because they're pretty. I do not know which one this is. I know that I had Rhiannon come out and plant this in the spring, and I handed them to her and I said, plant them. She didn't put the tags in the ground. It's no big deal, but I love this one. I like the ruffly edge on it. I like the center, but I don't know which one it is. So I'm just gonna propagate some of these. I really like this one. This I think is five plants in this little patch right here, and they did really super well. Over on the other side, see, here's the other ramp. We just come over to the other side and we have some Luscious Lemon Lantana in here. We have some of the Pineapple Brandy Coleus, and then here is the Inferno. And then I just have some Alyssum and some of the Proven Winners Mini Vista Yellow in here. And I love these. These are so beautiful. So when I first planted them, they were kind of this brown orange color. And then you can see as they grow, they get green in them as well. So this is one of those ones, if you plant it, it's got a nice transition into fall. We didn't come in and pinch any of the flowers or anything, but I am gonna get some of this too. This one again is called Inferno. It's not a Proven Winner, so I do like this one as well. All right, one last look at my beauties along the sidewalk. Oh, I hate to see them die, but I know once we get a hard frost, even sometimes a light frost, these guys are gonna like be totally wilted down and done. So look at that, isn't that gorgeous? I love these. This was 1 4-inch pot of a Proven Winners Coleus with a 4-pack of Impatiens. And look at that, that is gorgeous. I fertilized them every Friday, and I probably stopped fertilizing them like a month ago. Isn't that gorgeous? There's the Velveteen. And then I use the Port Oxford mix on the Impatiens. Those are gorgeous. I love them. Look at that. They have made this area so colorful and beautiful. Look at that. I'm already losing my leaves on my red maples. So I've been so happy with this. I do this every year because it always looks so spectacular. All right, but I came here to get a cutting of a Mini-Me watermelon. All right, there's my Mini-Me watermelon. So we're gonna get a cutting off of this. There you can see there's the Glory Road, again, overtaking 3 pots. But I do want to get one of these cuttings, and then I'm going to get a dipped in wine, which is right up here. And I'm going to get one of these dipped in wines so that I can propagate that one too. This one is by Proven Winners, and so is the Mini-Me watermelon. Oh, and plus, look at my orange begonias, you guys. I never did get around to pulling the Lenten Rose and the hosta out of this pot. I'll still do it because these begonias just took off and they were like, oh my gosh, these are gorgeous. Isn't that great? I love those. So I'm out in my front greenhouse and this is where I'm gonna start them off, but then it'll start to get colder. One of the things Coleus need when they're propagating is they really need really good light. So when I take these upstairs, they're going to be in a south-facing window. And if you're doing it at home and you don't have a good window to put them in, you might have to put a supplemental grow light on them so that they'll do well. Now, this greenhouse stays 15 to 20 degrees warmer than it is outside, so they'll be totally fine out here in the interim until I take them upstairs. We have totally emptied the greenhouse in preparation of winter. We bring all of our greens in here and we create all of our winter masterpieces. We have classes out here where people make porch pots and all that stuff. So we've totally emptied out the greenhouse of plants. We've brought in a lot of the product and the pots and the things like that that we overwinter in here. And it's a great place to start doing some projects like this. So this is where I'm going to propagate my Coleus. All right, so we just went around and we just picked a whole bunch of Coleus from the different areas and the different pots from my house and from the store. And so I've got a nice little collection here of what I'm going to plant. And I only have the one that I don't know what it is. I tried to go back and look at a video that I did on Coleus and growing them and the different kinds. And obviously I didn't have this one in when I planted it. So I think this is either from the Main Street series or it might be a Kong. I'm not sure, but I like it and it's okay if I don't know the name of it, and it's okay if you don't know the name of it. I'm going to propagate it anyways because I think it's pretty and I want to have it for next year. I really like the ruffly feathers on it, or feathers. I really like the ruffly leaves on it, and so we're going to propagate it. As a little bonus, I did pick a few begonias because you do begonias the same way as you do the Coleus. And so I picked one of the white, one of the pink, and one of the orange, just so I can propagate a few of those too. So the first thing you need to do is you need to get some potting soil. I'm going to dump it into my potting tray and I'm going to pre-moisten it. That is my step one. I'm going to be using the Fertilome Ultimate Potting Mix. This works just fine for doing this. And I'm actually going to do, I don't know, I'm just going to, well, do I really want the whole bag? Probably not. I'm probably going to do half a bag because I am using little pots. So that's a little bit more than half a bag, but that's okay. All right, I'm going to put my gloves on because one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to pre-moisten the soil. All right, and I'm just going to pre-moisten this. And again, when I'm pre-moistening soil for a project like this, I want the soil to make a ball in my hand, but I don't want it to be dripping water. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of giving the soil that's in here an opportunity to soak up the water, so it's not so hard to soak up the water in the pots. So what I did was I mixed it so that I can clump it, but if I squeeze it, I don't have water coming out of it because you don't want it that soaking wet. The other thing is whatever pot you're gonna use, you do want drainage in the bottom, and I have a catch tray or a little saucer underneath mine, so that way it's gonna catch any of the water when I go to water it. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fill up all my pots and I'm going to put them down in my tray. So let's get going with that. So I think one of the things I did, I filled them a little too full. I need to bring them down just a little bit so that I've got room for watering and I'm not making a mess when the water, you know, seeps over the edge. So I am like pulling a little bit out and dumping it into one of my little containers. That way, see, I'm a little bit below the lip. So sorry, I should have done that to start with. Now, if you are going to put them on wood or at your house, because like these are going to be house plants for me, so I'm not just growing them to grow them. Otherwise, I would just grow them like in a tray or something. I am going to use a glazed terracotta if I want to use this as my tray because I don't want the water to seep through onto my wood. So I make sure I grab a glazed one. And then I did take a brush and I just cleaned off the outside of the pot so they're cleaner. And then the other ones I just put in plastic trays so it catches the water because I don't want to ruin my furniture. The other thing I'm going to do is I am going to make a pebble tray, so I have a little bit of pebbles in here. And I'm not doing this because I'm going to bottom water. Coleus do not like standing water and it'll rot their roots out. So we've given them their initial water. It's not sopping wet and they're going to be able to root in that. But I want to set this in here so that when they do drain, they drain to the bottom here. I can pour off extra water if I end up adding too much water, but man, they hate that. So the pebble tray will help that. It also helps create a little bit of humidity around your pots as well. I'm using a terracotta pot because they do dry out faster than plastic pots, and I think it'll work better for my my Coleus cutting. You don't need that much, just enough to create a little layer here so that they're sitting up. I have my pots all ready to go here, and I think this will be more than enough for me. And I'm just going to go ahead and propagate these up. I did make little tags that you saw that I'm going to put in each pot so I know what each one is. I do have some Aaaamazing indoor plant food, and what I'll do is probably every 6 weeks I will give these guys a little food at half strength. Really good light, so if you don't have a good window to put them in, or if you see that they're getting leggy, you can pinch them back, move them into better light, and they're super easy to grow. All right, they're starting to wilt a little bit, so let's get them in their little pots. Now, you can do this a couple different ways. You can actually do a leaf cutting where you take the leaf and you pinch it off, and then you're going to put this in the dirt. You can cut the leaf in half. That way it's not putting as much energy towards the leaf, because your goal right now is to produce roots. So you can do it that way and just do a leaf cutting and put the leaf right in the dirt. It'll propagate. Now, you can also do a stem cutting where you pull all of the leaves off of the stem. See, and you can see the little growing points here. You just pull all of those off, and those are your little nodes where they're going to grow new leaves. See, and I'm going to make sure that I have maybe 2 sets of those in here. And I'm going to get my Felcos out here. I'm going to give it a clean cut at the bottom. Yeah, a clean cut. Give me the clean cut at the bottom, and then a clean cut at the top. And you want to make sure when you're doing the stems, you know which is the top and which is the bottom. And then what I do is I just put this in the dirt. I'm going to actually put it in there so that way I don't, I put one of the nodes under the dirt, but I want to make sure I don't put it in there upside down. Okay. And you can do just a leaf. So if you want to do just a leaf, this is what takes the longest, because there's no nodes on here to form roots. So you can do it this way. It just takes longer. And I cut the leaf in half. That way there's not as much energy going to the leaf, and I'm going to form roots. And then I'm going to put this down in my little pot. So let me show you all 3 of those. I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, and that's it. It's that easy. So this is my question mark one. I don't know what it is, the one that I just cut. I'm just going to take my marker. I just use kind of whatever's handy. You don't have to have a special tool. I make a hole in my pot like that, and then see how you've got the, sorry, I stuck it in there and pulled it out. You've got the little leaf node here, and this is the bottom. I'm going to put that down inside my pot, and then I'm just going to put that dirt around there like that. See, that's it. And then this is going to grow roots, and it'll start to grow. I find that the smaller the pot is, the better that they do. Now, if I want to do just a leaf cutting, I can do that as well. Again, I'm going to make a little hole. I'm going to drop my stem down in there. And then I'm just going to pack my dirt around that stem. And I can do it this way as well. This is going to take the longest, though. And so I'm going to pack it in there and just pack that leaf in there. And how do you know when they're ready? Well, if you give them a little tug, not a big tug, but a little tug in like 30 days, see if there's resistance. And then you know that they're starting to go. And you'll start to see little leaf formations on them as well. So I've got these 3 here. This is my orange begonia here, and I don't want the flower. Again, I just want the leaf, and I am going to cut this little guy in half because I don't need the energy spent on that leaf. I need it spent on roots. So I know some of you are like, why would you go through all that? Well, because I'm a gardener and I like to mess around with plants. Why don't you just bring your whole Coleus inside that you have in the pots? I don't do that because I don't have very good luck with the plants that way. Plus, there's bugs probably in those pots, and I'm not bringing that into my house. And the way you would do it is you would have to clean the leaves off. then what you're supposed to do is lift the whole pot out, shake all the dirt off, clean the roots off. Then you're supposed to repot it in fresh, clean soil in a fresh, clean pot, and then it's going to go through shock. It's going to drop leaves. I just don't want to go through all that. This is so much easier, and I start with this nice, clean, healthy plant. Now, make sure you give it good light. A south window is great. A west window, not so much. It doesn't want light beating on it, so it wants good light, but not direct sunlight. Because remember, when it's outside, a lot of them are growing in part shade or full shade. Also, there's a blend that you want to do. You know, you want to keep it evenly moist. You don't want it to dry out, but you don't want it to be soaking wet. Nice and evenly moist is what you're going for. Now remember, outside, once the temperatures start to drop below 60 degrees consistently, 50 degrees consistently, you're going to start to lose your coleus. So if you want to overwinter them, get outside and get your cuttings so that way you can have your own little mini babies to play with. So I hope this inspired you to go out and get some coleus, or you learned something today. I'm Michelle. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Bye, everybody.